Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, I thought I had a cool job. I can't hold a candle to my next guest. She's a real-life private eye. Her incredible story just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, being a private eye is not exactly like watching Magnum PI or Rockford Files, but it is an exciting life and very rewarding to people who do it because they can actually get to the bottom of something that's troubling their client. My next guest knows that very well, Anji Maddox. She's with She Spies Private Eye.
Hey, Jeff.
Thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I love the name, She Spies Private Eye. How did you come up with that?
Actually, I was sleeping at night and trying to come up with a company name, and I thought I wanted people to know that I was a woman, and decided it had to have she in it somehow, and She Spies Private Eye. That's how it evolved.
It's beautiful. And you were telling me before the show that you have always been into mysteries as a little girl. While everybody else is playing with Barbies, you're reading Nancy Drew. Well, tell me about that.
That is true. So I was a country girl, and I pretty much only had books if I wasn't outside with my horses. And so Nancy Drew, I got into that. I started reading, and I realized I actually had a mind for investigative work. And my mother is a genealogist, so I would travel with her and we'd interview relatives and we'd look for things in the library. So it just grew my passion for that type of work.
And tell us about the rest of your career before you got to being a private eye.
So I have a criminal justice degree, and I was worked for adult probation for a little while, and then ended up doing an internship with juvenile probation. I was offered a job, and that's when I realized how much I loved working with youth. So I was a juvenile probation officer for 7 years, and realized as I got to know the children that they were coming from broken homes. There was a lot of infidelity, there was a lot of abuse, and I decided I didn't want to be on the side where they were already going through so much negativity with the home life. So I decided I wanted to be on the other end to help prevent children from being in that situation. So once I became a private investigator, I decided that I wanted my focus to be child custody, which of course, anytime you're dealing with domestic, that atmosphere, it's going to be infidelity, it's going to be child custody, but that's when it became my passion.
Absolutely. More from Anji in a minute. We found a great 30-second spot. Let's go ahead and roll that.
She Spies Private Eye is here to serve you. Local, experienced, professional, confidential. Our passion and specialty is child custody cases. However, we do so much more. Some other services include cheating spouse, surveillance, computer and cell phone forensics, corporate investigations, and background checks. She Spies Private Eye. We're always watching out for you.
I love your branding. It's just cool. You're a great marketer.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me one of your favorite cases of all time.
Well, I have quite a few whenever you've done this for as long as I have. As far as favorite, I would say that is when I had to go undercover in a swingers club. So being raised in the country world, I did not know what that was. I didn't even know swingers clubs existed. So my client actually really enjoyed informing me of this type of world. So I had to go into a swingers club and follow his wife. and document all the activities that she was doing. So that is probably, let's say, fun. One of my, most fun type of cases. As far as a favorite, that's always going to be whenever we help keep a child or children safe or in a safe environment. I have many of those. We have rescued kids who were abducted by a parent. I have many of those kind of favorite stories as well.
And is your client typically a divorce attorney, or are you working directly for the family who suspects infidelity?
Actually, both. So most of my clients are attorneys. We actually recommend letting the attorney be our client. But then we also have some families that want to hire us. It could be the grandparent, it could be the parent, it could be a sibling, a close friend. So we have a mixture of people who are our clients, but probably the most of them are attorneys. Yeah.
Well, I urge everybody to follow her on social media because she creates a lot of great content and these great tips. Here's one of them.
Hi everyone, happy Saturday evening. So I decided to go ahead and do my second video. And if you saw my first video, I ended it with why you should not do your own private investigations. So like I said, in the state of Texas, you have to be licensed by the state to be able to perform that job. So if you're out getting evidence on your own, putting on the wig, getting the rental car, trying to get your own evidence, that could actually backfire you if you're going to use it in court. So judges actually do not like people going out and trying to obtain their own evidence. They would prefer a licensed professional who is considered an expert witness due to that licensure to be able to get on the stand and actually be credible testimony for the case. So, note to self, if you don't want possible stalking or harassment charges filed against you, don't go and try to do your own private investigations. Let us, the professional, do that for you. Everybody have a great night. Bye.
And you were telling me just before the show that there's a lot of ways to break the law, including hiding a tracking device on somebody's car. That's illegal?
That's illegal. It's a gray area. My attorney said absolutely do not put any type of tracking device. There are privacy laws that we have to adhere to. So, and a lot of people don't understand that we do have a legal liability, and it's not like TV. So we have to abide by the law. We also have to think of privacy issues.
Sure. And it's not like TV where they solve the mystery in less than an hour. Sometimes you're working on cases for weeks, I'm imagining.
Actually, sometimes years. I've actually had cases that have been ongoing for, I think the longest one was probably 4 years.
Wow.
So it depends on the client's budget. It depends on what exactly they're trying to achieve, the goal. And so you just never really know how long it's going to take. And that's actually a question that's asked of us a lot, is how long is it going to take you to save my kids? Or how long is it going to take you to catch my spouse? Well, we don't know the answer to that.
Sure. And you have a great reputation. You are a member of a number of private eye investigation associations. Tell me about the relationship between traditional law enforcement and private eyes.
And in which regard?
Do they get along? Like if you're working on a case that kind of overlaps with a criminal case that the police are investigating.
So I like to have a good rapport with all law enforcement. It's just a good thing. We can be of great service to law enforcement. We can actually really do things law enforcement can't because they're a government agency. We're in the private sector. So it's best if we can work together. We don't want to step on toes. We don't want to interfere with an investigation. So what I like to do is I like to go to whoever the detective is on a case, introduce myself and say, I'm here to help. I'm not here to interfere. So most law enforcement agencies love that. They love working with us. You always can run across somebody who may not be a fan of ours, but for the most part, we work real well together.
Well, I'm imagining some of your stuff is you're just like following them in your car. Have you ever gotten in a situation where somebody calls the cops on you?
It does happen. It does. So what I train my agents to do is you just play dumb. You act like you don't know what they're talking about or who they are. And we don't ever reveal that we're a private investigator on a case. That is something that is absolutely confidential. And that's another question a lot of clients ask, is our confidentiality. That is probably one of my biggest things, is remaining confidential for people. So yeah.
Okay, we've got about 2 minutes left. So in the final 2 minutes, if somebody's watching this saying, man, I think I need Angie's help, what's the process like? Do you get on a Zoom call with them, or how do you figure out if it's a good fit?
So usually it'll start with a call, and I have an intake agent that will intake the call. She's going to ask a lot of questions to find out exactly what their objective is, what their budget looks like, so that we can put together a case for them. And if we can help them, we will. If we can't help them, we won't. But we start off with that intake call, and then we'll go from there and we'll put a plan together for them.
Outstanding. You've been an amazing guest. We're going to leave you with her website, which is SheSpiesPI.com. The great Anji Maddox. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.